You got a determination letter from Social Security and they said, hey, you made a lot of money 2 years ago and you need to pay more for your Medicare B and D. So let's walk through this. I just signed up for Medicare. I went online to socialsecurity.gov. I enrolled in Medicare A and B. Everybody told me Medicare Part B in 2025 costs $185. Okay, I got that budgeted. But then I get a letter from Social Security a month later and it says I have to pay $400 a month. What? What is this Medicare IRMAA? This is a surcharge for high earners. So Medicare says you made a lot of money 2 years ago. They look back 2 years. They said you made a lot of money 2 years ago, so you have to pay more for Medicare. Now you can appeal this. You can Google to get the form to appeal. It's the SS-44. And it will tell you if you had one of these life-changing events that you can appeal it and you don't have to pay that. What would a life-changing event be? Well, 2 years ago, I was married. My husband made a lot of money. We got divorced. Okay, that's a life-changing event. Show proof of your divorce decree, send in the letter within 30 days of getting it, and they will give you readjustment back down to the regular Medicare Part B and Part D. So you pay $185. What are other life-changing events? Marriage, divorce, there's other stuff. The main one is work stoppage. And that's going to impact most people that get this determination. They were working 2 years ago. They have retired. So they were making $200,000 2 years ago, but now they're making $30,000. So you would file the SS-44 and you would show proof that you retired, and then they will lower you back down. So if I already signed up for Medicare Part B to start next month, and I'm on Social Security, and they gave me that determination, they have to pay that $400, they're going to start taking the $400 out of my Social Security. Okay? So they're going to take it out monthly, and I'm going to file the appeal, and it's going to take a month to get to them, and then they're going to have to look at, and then eventually they're going to say, oh yeah, you're right. We see that you quit working, so you don't have to pay the IRMAA surcharge. You don't have to pay $400 a month. So we're going to refund you that money for those 3 months. They'll eventually stick it back in your Social Security check. And you're like, well, can I just get ahead of this? Because I'm getting ready to retire, and I know I'm going to get entangled. Can I just stop so they don't have to take my money and then refund it? You can't get ahead of it. You have to let the cogs of the government turn. I'm just warning you that IRMAA exists and how to appeal. So you're going to get that form SS-44, and you'll see a lot of different things that you can appeal. Now, there are things that caused your income to go up, to spike in 2 years ago, that are not appealable. Don't waste your time. Number one thing is, when you retired 2 years ago, you took all the money out of your 401k and you put it in your savings account. And you're like, I'm going to figure out what to do with it later. Or you took it all out because you wanted to, I typically hear this from people, buy a mobile home, remodel my house, right? So you took the money out. It became a taxable event when you take money out of your 401k or your IRA. So you have to pay taxes on it. It raised your taxable income 2 years ago. When you go on Medicare or sign up for Medicare Part B, they look at your taxable income from 2 years ago. And they go, wow, you made a lot of money. Well, no, I didn't really make that money. I took all that money out of my IRA so I could buy my $80,000 mobile home. I'm only going to do that once. It was a one-time thing, blah, blah, blah. Appeal, appeal, appeal. Don't waste your time. That is not an appealable event. You took the money out. It was taxable income. You're going to pay more for Medicare Part B, which is everything outside the hospital, and D, the drug plan. You're going to pay more every month for this whole year. The good news is they do readjust it annually. Social Security, they're the ones that administer Medicare Part B. They cross-reference with the IRS every year, and they look at your tax returns, and they go, oh, her income went down. She doesn't have to pay more for Part B next year. So the good news is you won't have to necessarily ever pay it again. It might have been a one-time event when you took a bunch of money out of your 401k typically, or your IRA. Maybe you sold your house. You sold your house or vacation house or some vacant land. And this happens a lot because a lot of times elderly people are remarried. It's a second marriage and they don't need these two houses now. So they sell one. What's the big deal? We're going to get a little extra money. Well, the big deal could be the impact on Medicare. Because that whatever profit that exceeds your tax exemption, That's taxable income. That can raise your taxable income. You can't appeal that. So the fact that you sold a house 2 years ago might cause you to pay more for Medicare A and D or B and D for a year. Let's say I'm married, I'm on Medicare, and so is my spouse. Well, we're both going to have to pay more. My spouse only works part-time. He makes 30 grand. We file our taxes jointly. So per the IRMAA brackets, we as a couple made over $300,000 2 years ago because we sold that house. So both of us will pay more for Medicare Part B and D for a whole year. Your spouse might get pretty mad about that, right? No way around it. Don't file your taxes separately so that you can get around the IRMAA. Yeah, it would get around the IRMAA in most cases if she had a $30,000 income, but you're going to lose other tax advantages. So you can work with an accountant to actually crunch the actual numbers, but in most cases, you're not going to file separately to avoid the IRMAA. You're just going to have to pay it for 1 year. Now, when you have to pay it, if I go on Medicare Advantage, can I avoid it? No. Whatever insurance you have, or if you don't have any insurance, if you are enrolled in Part B, if you are enrolled in Part D, you will be paying it. You might not be enrolled in the drug plan. You might get your drugs through the VA and you never signed up for Medicare Part D, or you get your drugs through your union or through federal retirees. If you're not signed up for Part D, you don't pay it. The same thing with Part B. If you're not enrolled in Part B, you're not going to pay it. So some people say, okay, based on what I did 2 years ago, maybe I need to work another year and delay taking Part B for a year so that when they look back 2 years, the fact that I sold that house or my business or took all that money out of my IRA won't impact Medicare. And that's good strategy. That's good planning. So go to my website, themedicarefamily.com, or get my cheat sheet. It's going to list the 5 income brackets for Medicare IRMAA for 2025. So if you're making $106,000 as an individual or $212,000 as a couple, you just pay the standard $185. But if you make $106,001 or $212,001 as a couple, boom, now you're in the first category of IRMAA, where you and potentially your spouse are paying more for Part B and Part D every month for 1 year. So it's something you can do a little strategizing with if you are not yet enrolled in Medicare. If you're going to sell your business, maybe you structure those payments out over 5 years. Maybe you're like, I don't want to structure it. I want the money now. I'll just suck up the IRMAA. But at least you have some options. Maybe instead of selling that extra house, you just rent the extra house, right? So strategize about Medicare IRMAA because it could cost you, if you hit the top bracket and both you and your spouse are both on Medicare A or B and D, it could cost you an extra $6,000 as a couple for 1 year. So it's worth learning about, and maybe there's an opportunity for you to do some strategizing, and maybe you can appeal it because you have an appealable situation. If you learned something today, I appreciate you tell your friends because they don't know about this either. And hit the subscribe button. I'll get you ready for retirement. If you like this video, you might really like this video. Check it out. And we'd appreciate if you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a great video. We put out one every week. Check in the description below this video for a link to our cheat sheet on Social Security and Medicare. And you can also give us a comment if you have a specific question. Always feel free to call us or email us at the Medicare Family.